Hello, and welcome back to the Piping Pastor. Today I thought we'd have a wee chat about the blessings of the pipe. Now, there are many things that may draw one to pipe smoking. I know for many of you, uh, it was Tolkien in The Lord of the Rings that first brought you into pipe smoking. For others, it was uh, someone in your past, an influential figure who also smoked a pipe, and you associate pipe smoking with that person in a pleasant way. For others, it's simply just the aroma of pipe smoke you've always found appealing. Myself, I first got interested in pipe smoking because of Basil Rathbone. His portrayal of Sherlock Holmes in the series, the old black and white series, I found that thoughtful contemplation, that working out of problems, the famous three pipe problem. I found that fascinating. I thought that's something that I aspire to. And in my academic pursuits, I, of course, associated the study of classics and the study of theology and philosophy and all those various different disciplines in which I was engaged with people who have a contemplative nature, right? People who sit and think because they're working through very difficult problems. And we're not just talking about in the sciences and so forth, philosophical, theological difficulties as well. And the pipe, I was associated with that. Not that there's some kind of, you know, magic formula that involves a pipe and contemplative thought, but there is somewhat of a magic to it. Speaking of pipe, I'm smoking my Boswell billiard pipe with some Fusiliers ration in it. Nearly the last of my Fusiliers ration. I have about a half a flake left, so I'll be moving on to something else and reordering some of that. But I've mentioned on several occasions, and other presenters have as well, that the blessing of a pipe, or one of the blessings of the pipe, is that it slows you down, right? It forces you to sit still and just sit and think. It's not like a quick couple of drags on a cigarette, and then you're off and back to it, like a smoke break at work. This is something where it takes a little bit of time, right? And it makes you to pause in a busy world that's constantly pulling at us and distracting us, and various different technologies are pulling our attention away from the present moment, and it's impossible to have mindfulness of any sort because we're constantly abuzz with things that have to get done. I'm guilty of it as well. As I mentioned, I'm on leave this week, so I've had some time to make some more videos and smoke a bit more and read a bit more. But still, I mean, I'm planning a trip too. I'm leaving Monday morning for California by way of Denver. So it's going to be another busy week for me, a busy week of traveling. And so as much as I try to unplug and pull myself away from that, I still, get pulled into making plans for myself and my assistant and all the different things that we have to get together. And so it's challenging to sit still. But that is one of the blessings of the pipe, right? Some of you may have noticed that this mug that I choose to drink my coffees and teas out of, the word on there is Selah. It's the Hebrew term to pause or rest. It's used in the Psalms, and a musical note term translation typically is pause or rest, in the sense of reciting lyrics or performing music. But it reminds me that this is a time to pause and rest. So that is, of course, one of the blessings of the pipe, but it's by no means the only one. I think in many cases when we discuss the blessings of the pipe, we stop there. We say, okay, it slows us down, right? It affords us time of contemplation. And because that is such a needful and rare thing for people, we say, okay, well, there's it. That's it. And it smells nice and it tastes nice and there's great fun, in discovering new tobaccos and new tobacco blends and searching out rare or exotic pipes or purchasing pipes that have certain associations and so on and so forth. So there is that as well. But I think that there's another great blessing that we don't necessarily have at the front of our minds, and that is ritual. In particular, ritual connection and ritual cleansing. I mentioned this in my discussion of theological anthropology about ritual play, about how humans are unique in that we are able to conceive of a divine other and to engage with that unseen divine other through ritual play way, way back in our history. Cave, in the time of when we were dwelling in caves still. That's indicated by cave drawings, and human anthropologists have noted that as well, the ritual play of early humans. But that idea of ritual in play, of that engaging with the divine other, it wasn't just through random acts. It was play in that it was imaginative, but there was certain things that the person would go through. There were certain um, facets to the ceremony that were observed. Allowed for connection. And of course, when you look at various different religio-philosophic traditions all across the world, and of course, I can speak to the Christian tradition, of which I am a member, but Catholicism, liturgical Protestantism, um, Greek Orthodox, other various different American Orthodox, Russian Orthodox, all these various different things have rituals within them. Even the quote unquote evangelical non denominational movement, of which I am specifically a member, we have rituals. We have service at a certain time. We have a certain order of music, a certain order of, everyone comes in, says hi, then we get together and it's praise songs and worship songs, and then, greet your neighbor, then announcements and the sermon, and then the blessing, and then another worship song, and then everyone mills about in the lobby and then go home. If you're an evangelical, I've probably just described your every Sunday morning. And there's nothing wrong with ritual. I'm not here to say anything about that. What I want to point out is that we use rituals, we engage in rituals in our practice of relationally conveying ourselves as people to a divine other. Because the rituals puts us in a frame of mind to connect with the divine other, and then allows us to kind of check out a little bit mentally, right? If things are rote, if things are prescribed in a certain manner, then we can go through the motions to get ourselves lined up, and then we're open to receive, right? So there's the relational aspect of ritual. There's also the cleansing act of ritual. And again, I'm going to speak from a biblical perspective because that's my personal tradition. But ritual cleansing is something that the ancient Israelites would engage in often. There was ritual cleansing of the dishes, ritual cleansing of the body, ritual cleansings after certain ceremonies and certain times of life. There was a prescribed ritual for preparing the animal to be sacrificed in another ritual on top of ritual. And there were specific rituals for when men would return from war, that they would cleanse themselves of activities they had done during war before they were reintroduced back into society. And you see that often in various other cultures as well. Returning warrior epics. Of course, we know the story of the Odyssey is a returning warrior epic, and it has to do with reintroducing a warrior back into society. And if you follow along how that story goes, that kind of works out that way. But there's also stories in South American cultures of great heroes returning from war, and because they're all amped up from war and so forth, that requires some cleansing to remove the violence from them, to reintegrate them into society. Our First Nations peoples here in the United States, they have sweat lodge rituals where people come together in a community and offer a cleansing ritual when warriors return from battle in order to cleanse them of the negative spirits that they've had to engage with, and the people that they've had to kill in battle and so forth. That's something that's been currently engaged with as well in an academic fashion with regards to post-traumatic stress disorder or moral injury when it comes to modern combat soldiers. So there was something to ritual that allows us to cleanse us of, to use a biblical term, unrighteousness, right? The process of ritual allows us to cleanse ourselves of the things that, distract us or make us sad or angry. And there's a lot of ritual in pipe smoking. I usually don't actually smoke as much during my videos. I usually spend most of the time talking. And then, after a minute or two, the ember gets low, and then I let it go, and then I relight when the video is ended, and I finish my pipe after I record my video. In this one, I've specifically been tamping and lighting and stopping to puff to demonstrate. To demonstrate something that we all do when we smoke a pipe without a lot of conscious thought around it. The holding, the clenching, the tamping, the lighting, the relighting, setting it down, picking it up. And that's after we've already selected the pipe, selected the tobacco, packed the pipe. There's very different ways to pack a pipe. The spiral method, where you put the tobacco in your hand and run your pipe upside down in spiral circles so that it burns in a spiral all the way down. There's the 3-pinch method, the marshmallow method, the stuff and squish method. Do you like your tobacco a bit dry or a bit more wet? Which kind of pipe do you choose? Which feels more comfortable? What's clenchable? What's not clenchable? Do you clench or do you hold your pipe? All these various different things are done in preparation for the ritual of lighting. There's the char light and the tamp, then the true light, and the tamp, and the relight. See, the blessing of the pipe is not just the pause it gives us in the course of our daily lives. The blessing of the pipe is also about the ritual of allowing us to connect with our divine other, whatever that looks like for you, getting us in mindset of quiet contemplation, but also letting us, for lack of a better term, fiddle about, to occupy, our mind a wee bit in order to leave us open for that kind of spiritual communication. So there's divine ritual, the practice of preparing for divine ritual. There's also the ritual of cleansing, of going through the motions, of doing the various different things that we do with the pipe. All of this in conjunction with the pause. It's a pause, it's a rest, and then it's ritual. That's the blessing of the pipes. Well, that being said, I shall continue enjoying the blessing of this pipe. I hope you do as well. I might do yet one more video before I hit the road, and then I may pack my travel pipe kit and do a video from California. I don't know if I have time for that or not out there. I know I definitely won't have time in Denver, but Colorado or in California, maybe possible. So, any event, I'm off to it now. So, have a lovely week, and as always, happy reading.